Hello, this is Rahul and welcome back to FUNalysis. Today we're going to be taking a look at two massive 300 plus point matches, one from Indiana and one from Romania, featuring many top 50 teams. We'll be looking at how metas can change from match to match, specifically with regards to different gate control strategies and cross-field interactions. If your team is headed into regionals or world soon, these are the kinds of strategies that you must know to be successful in high-level elimination matches. Let's get into it.
This video on Fun is brought to you by our viewers, supporters, members, and also in partnership with the following. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by First Alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com. DECODE Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to DECODE.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts.
The first match we're going to be taking a look at is from the Shoals qualifying tournament in Indiana, playoff match number 10. This match temporarily held the world record by non-penalty of 376 before being broken multiple times in the same day. But right now it stands as the 5th highest score, and we're going to be really focusing on team 11329 Ice Robotics on the red alliance, as we see encircled. They've just been one of the most dominant teams this season in terms of these close zone gate cycles. They scored almost 70 artifacts just by themselves in teleop this period, and I think that number is just absolutely insane to me. They've got the 7th ranked OPR worldwide, and I think there's so much we can take away from, and how we're going to compare that to the strategies used by the teams in the Romanian match, which we're going to see soon enough. So as we start the match, we can see that Ice Robotics immediately goes to open their gate. They're opening their gate and quickly letting artifacts out, intaking and going to shoot, and that cycle speed is really impressive, and I know gate cycling has become such a big thing for this season in terms of driver practice, and Ice Robotics has really mastered it in getting those cycles down quickly. The next thing we're going to see them do, and I really want to focus in throughout this match, is how they're almost exclusively staying on the rightward side of this field. They never go to their own human player zone or their own secret tunnel zone at any point in this match. They're always intaking from their own gate and in their opponent's secret tunnel zone, and intaking artifacts that rolled further away out. And this strategy is going to be really interesting to compare when we look at the sort of more chaotic structure of the Romanian match, which we're going to look at soon enough. And that dichotomy is kind of really interesting to see how teams may approach high-level elimination matches depending on their opponents, which we'll get into soon enough. So 11329 is going to continue cycling from that rightward side of the field and shooting. And the next really good thing I want to point out in them is how efficient their gate cycles are at setting up their next intake. We're going to see here, when they have a full classifier ramp, they're going to open their gate and quickly get their first 3 artifacts out of that ramp, and then allow artifacts to roll outwards to make their next cycle easier. We're going to see then here, they're going to open their gate, quickly get 3, and these next set of artifacts are rolling outwards, which essentially allow them to quickly grab them after they've shot. They immediately go for these artifacts that have rolled out, and this makes their cycles insanely consistent. They're always having these 4-foot cycles in 2 or 3 seconds. And that's why they're able to score so many artifacts in the tie-up period, is just how consistent and short their driving distances are. And once again, this is going to be super interesting to compare to the Romanian teams, and how we'll see that teams are going all the way across the map with really fast drivetrains and still scoring a lot of balls, but it might be more competitive when there's other teams with a similar throughput as you. In this match, we see that Ice Robotics has relatively the highest throughput of any robot on the field in terms of samples scored or artifacts scored, and that allows them to really have these consistent cycles because they're not worried about another robot quickly entering that baiting for penalties in that secret tunnel zone, because they're confident that they can quickly get artifacts and get into their shooting zone. We can see that if we rewind a little, if we go back a few seconds, we see that when a blue robot enters a secret tunnel zone, 11329 knows what to do, and they're able to quickly go into the corner to get artifacts from there. They're not disturbed by the fact that there's another robot, and I think that's something that teams can really learn from, where even if you're worried about getting penalties, you can quickly pivot to a different solution, like Ice Robotics does here. They go and intake from that corner, avoiding penalties, and while still not having their cycle time reduced. Now, throughout the rest of the match, they're going to continue to employ this strategy of intaking artifacts that have rolled further way out and opening that gate and quickly getting 3 from there. And that allows them to have these rapidly consistent cycles, which is why I think they're one of the strongest teams in the world this season thus far. Now we're going to head into our second match with Romania. I really want to compare how 11329 is always staying on this rightward side of the field and having those quick gate cycles versus the cross-field interactions we're going to see in the next match. Heading into our second match from the Romania West League tournament, on the Red Alliance, we have teams CSH and Delta Force, and on the Blue Alliance, we've got teams Cybermoon and Bitmo. And I think this match really stood out to me for just how much randomness and how much chaos there was compared to the structure of the Indiana match we saw earlier. Immediately entering Teleup, look at how many artifacts are scattered around the field. There's so many artifacts at random spots, not on the spike marks, not in the corners, as we saw in that Indiana match with Ice Robotics. And that's going to really play and lead into how the Teleup of this period, there's just going to be so much chaos, so much robot interactions, it almost feels like a completely different game. And I'm going to try to break down why I believe these different, almost completely different types of matches are being played at both high levels. This is also a 300 plus point match for the Red Alliance, and that Indiana match was also a 376 plus point match. Let's break it down. So starting off the match, we've got teams will open their gates to clear out how much artifacts there were from Autonomous, and that's kind of similar to that Indiana match. But immediately entering, what we're going to see is that Team CSH, rather than just intaking from their own side or one of the clumps, they're going to be quickly pivoting across both human player zones across the field to get those artifacts from that far launch zone. And they also don't just shoot from the far launch zone, they shoot sometimes from the close zone. This match doesn't necessarily have a far launch zone bot and a close launch zone bot. It's much more varied, there's much more chaos. We're going to see CSH try to go to the right, but as they see the Blue Alliance robot heading there, they're going to quickly pivot and go to the left to get those artifacts from the human player zone. They're going to go then, after this, they're going to go then and go to shoot them, and now CSH is going to start doing close zone cycles with the Blue Alliance robot sort of intersecting them in their pathway. We're going to see them intake artifacts from that corner and go into shoot that into their thing, while the Blue Alliance robot goes to and also intake from their corner, and they sort of cross paths in the middle. We're going to see that play out here where they cross paths right there, bump into each other as their cycles are going, and that sort of interaction was not really there present in that Indiana match. And I think that really shows how different these matches can be when there's less of a structure. Continuing into the match, the next thing I want to highlight is how there's a contact between the Red Alliance robot and a Blue Alliance robot in the blue protected zone, which is the penalty on the Red Alliance, as we'll see the ref call out. And I think that aggressive driving is something we also didn't see from that first match, where robots are trying to prioritize faster intake cycles over potential penalties. We saw Ice Robotics do that a few times, but this is much more aggressive simply due to the nature of all the teams present in this match. We're going to see this sort of continue, and the next thing I want to highlight in this match is how scattered the artifacts are. As we saw at the end of Autonomous, there's almost no artifacts in those corners in that human player zone, which there were so many artifacts in that Indiana match in those secret tunnel and human player zones as they rolled out to the gate. But cycles are so fast, there's so much far zone interaction going on here that artifacts are rolling around everywhere. There's more artifacts in the close launch zone than the human player zones. And I think that's really interesting in how faster drivetrains and really effective cleanup style robots could have a really high level capabilities at world or regional championship levels in elimination matches when there's just so many robots scoring at a very high throughput. We're going to see this match continue and this sort of chaotic structure continue to develop as the robots continue to score. Once again, for example, this Blue Alliance robot in that that's doing far zone, they're shooting from close and far. We're going to see both Blue Alliance robots in their human player zone opposite corner of their goal. This isn't something we really saw Ice Robotics do, as they were completely staying on the right-hand side of the field. And here we've got 2 Blue Alliance robots on the opposite corner, opposite of where they need to score. And that's sort of just by nature of how they're driving. It's not one strategy, they're sort of much more varied. I think that's really interesting. We're going to see them quickly intake and quickly go to score them from that close launch zone right here. And I think this type of strategy plays really well at competitions where you've got multiple robots scoring at a really high level, because it's sort of difficult sometimes to get into that true cycling form if another robot keeps interfering with them, versus if you've got 2 alliances sort of dedicating to just stay in their cycles and not have this chaotic structure. It kind of goes into more of that first match we've seen. We're going to see more of that here, where the Blue Alliance robot opens their gate, the Red Alliance CSH immediately recognizes this and goes to intake, forcing the Blue Alliance robot to have to leave. They're going to intake, and Blue Alliance has to leave. And as the match continues to play out, we're going to see, once again, this sort of randomness continue to go as almost all the robots are cycling from both the close, not just one point in the close, many points in the close. They're fetching for balls that are rolling around. And that's really interesting to me, because I think some of the highest scores we might see is where we have one alliance doing relatively stronger than the other, and that one alliance is able to repeatedly cycle their gate, versus at a world's level, I feel like a match like this is going to be more commonplace, where there's just so much balls being spammed, being shot in, so much intake, so much going on at once. And that's what really makes this match really fun to watch, and what really caught my eye. Thank you for watching this episode of FUNalysis. Let us know in the comments if you think at Worlds and Regionals levels, teams are going to be mainly focusing on cycling consistently, or more random far zone, close zone mix throughout. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos like these. And signing off, this is Rahul.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. Studica Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to studica.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by First alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com.